Alright, what's up? I'm back here today with another NBA Talk video. Thank you guys for all your support on the first one of these where I talked about why and how the Chicago Bulls should blow up their team. So if you missed that, go check that out. I can't wait to be talking the Bulls all season long because their future gets a lot more exciting once they move on from guys like Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, and DeMar DeRozan. So yeah, I got the microphone in hand. We're going to talk about the 2021 draft class today. I feel like this draft class has been so polarizing so far. Most of these players are in year 3. Some have seen their stock just skyrocket this season. Some have seen it pretty much stay the same or even plummet. So I'm going to be going through like 15 or so guys and what I think about them so far here in the 2024 season and where I think that they could be headed. Do we want to hit the panic button, or are they a player that you can build around long term? So if you guys do enjoy the videos, I would appreciate dropping a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you guys think of some of these players. So the first one I got to talk about is Cade Cunningham. He was the #1 overall pick back in 2021. He was the consensus #1 overall pick. It really wasn't up for debate. Cade had a very slow start to his rookie season, shooting just 38% from the field and 31% from 3 in his first 25 games. He was turning the ball over a ton, and it definitely took him some time to get used to the NBA level after coming off a really good freshman season at Oklahoma State. And he finished the season off such a high note, shooting 46% from the field, averaging 21 points and 7 assists a night in his final 17 games as a rookie. He really gave Scotty Barnes a run for his money for Rookie of the Year that season towards the end of the stretch. And we had such high hopes for Cade in year 2, but unfortunately, last season, we did see Cade's season get cut short. He only played in 12 total games before missing the year with a season-ending injury. And he looked solid to start off the year, definitely inconsistent at times. And Cade has played in 15 games so far this season, and honestly, it's been a little bit disappointing. I'm not going to lie. So the Pistons as a whole has just been an absolute train wreck. They're 2-12. They have one of the worst records in the NBA as a whole. They're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference once again. And that's basically been the moral of the story since Cade entered the NBA on this Pistons squad. This year, he's averaging 21 points, like good counting numbers. He's averaging over 7 assists a night. I think his playmaking has been there. The thing I don't love about Cade this season has been his overall efficiency, because even times at Oklahoma State in his first 2 years, even albeit a short second season, he didn't shoot well from 3. He shot 31% from 3 in 64 games in his rookie season. Then last year, in a small sample size, shot 28% from 3. So watching him play already more games this year than he did last year, shooting 32% from 3, makes me think that's where he could be throughout his career. Now, guys we've seen get better from downtown over the long point, throughout their career, so I'm not going to hit the panic button on Cade's three-point jumper yet. But 41% overall from the field in his rookie year, 41% last year, and shooting 40% from the field this year. This has been a consistent trend with Cade having some inefficiencies at time, and his true shooting may just hide that a little bit because he does get to the free throw line a decent amount, and he's a good free throw shooter, so it's a little bit painful to watch him struggle from 3 because I do think his jumper will translate from downtown. And another thing that I don't love about Cade right now is he's turning the ball over a ton. He's averaging 4.8 turnovers a night. That is really bad. That's at the top of the NBA right now. That's not where you want to be with your decision making. Obviously, he's asked to do a whole lot in this Monty Williams offense when the Pistons don't have good floor spacing around him, and he's doing a lot of ISO creation, obviously running the sets, which you want from your franchise point guard, but just averaging 4.8 turnovers a night is not great to see. And I don't think that Cade Cunningham has really taken that step in year 3 that we all may have hoped, or at least thought of, that he was going to going into the season. Like I said, the Pistons are off to a brutal start, so I think they will turn it around and not finish this bad towards the end of the regular season. Still have a lot of inexperienced guys, still just a brand new system, brand new head coach, and we're only 15 games in the year. But yeah, it's a little alarming about Cade. Next up, we got to talk about Jaylen Green, who is the 2nd overall in this pick. I wouldn't say he was the consensus overall, because I feel like if you go back to draft night last year, it was always a debate between him or Evan Mobley at number 2. The Rockets went with Jaylen Green, and like Cade, he wasn't on many good teams so far in his career. Past 2 years, the Rockets have been some of the worst teams in the NBA. This year, though, they're off to a solid start. Brought in Ime Udoka, right direction for this franchise. Signed veterans like Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet, who've made an immediate impact for this team on both sides of the ball. And they've drafted a ton of young talent with high upside, like Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore in this past draft. Jabari Smith, 3rd overall in the 2022 draft. And obviously, Jaylen Green went 2nd overall in the 2021 draft. And his efficiency has somewhat dropped this season, and I'm a little alarmed about Jaylen Green, not going to lie. Because there's some games, though, where he could just explode for 30-plus points on good efficiency and can really control your offense in the second half when it matters. But it feels like there's just so many times where it's just ill-advised shots. It's just not leading to productive numbers. And I know he's still just 21 years old, so I'm not going to, throw him out of the window right now. But I just think it's been a little bit disappointing for Jaylen Green so far in year 3, especially when you paired him up with a solid combo guard next to him in Fred VanVleet. Shooting sub percent from the field. I mean, his 3-point three-point percentage is solid at 35%, but if he's not going to be able to shoot better at the rim, mid-range, or just in between the three-point line and the hoop, are we really going to get better with their efficiency, Jaylen Green? He also gets to the free throw line a ton, which I love, but he's also subpar from the line as well. Been a career sub 80% free throw shooter. His numbers could look a little bit better if he's able to hit 1 or 2 more free throws a night. And he really hasn't progressed much of a playmaker. I think it was thrown around last year a little bit that we could see point guard Jaylen Green. I don't really think we're going to see that. His playmaking numbers have definitely taken a little bit of a hit this season. So I don't know, Rockets fans, you guys can let me know in the comments below. I know his defense isn't great either at times that I see from him, but he definitely has all the potential to be a very good two-way player. So it's a little bit frustrating to see the least so far in year 3. Quickly, we'll talk about Mble because I don't think his stock has changed too much, at least on the offensive side of the ball. He's up there in the DPOY conversation. He's probably in the top 5 in the conversations right now. Still an insane shot blocker, rim protector, great just reading kind of screens on the defensive side of the ball, gets in the passing lanes, can really just kind of adjust and react to just what offensive kind of skill sets have. So Mble still living up to the hype on the defensive side of the floor. That has not gone anywhere, and he's still going to be one of the best defenders in the league at his position for the next 10 or so years. I would just think the offense has been, I mean, not disappointing by any means. He's still a productive offensive player inside. I just hope his three-point shot was going to develop or a little bit more of a mid-range jumper, and that has not been the case so far this season. He's shooting 75% at the rim, but then he's shooting 36% from shots 3 to 10 feet. A little bit better, 41% at shots 10 to 16 feet, but just overall from 3, shooting 14% this season. He doesn't really take a lot of threes to begin with, but I just thought that we'd see Evan Moble's jumper develop a little bit in year 3. Now, I know Darius Garland has missed some time, and Donovan Mitchell, who can really create kind of open jumpers for him in some pick and pop sets or just some design play calls for Mble, at least maybe getting some elbow jumpers or stuff like that. It is tougher, too, with Jarrett Allen not really being much of a shot creator or a floor spacer at that 5 spot that can really just kind of make that area for Mble very congested. So I think Evan Moble's defense is right where we want it to be. It's progressing to be one of the better just overall defensive skill sets in the NBA. I just think I would like to see the jump shot develop a little bit more because then he could really be an elite two-way player and not just be somewhat more of a one-dimensional offensive player because he has a good handle in my opinion. I think it's pretty good for somebody of his size at 6'11". I just want to see that jumper develop because then Evan Mble would really be a scary player. Let's talk about the roller coaster Scotty Barnes experience, man. Kind of a shocker maybe to some people when he went 4th overall to the Toronto Raptors over Jaylen Suggs or Jonathan Kuminga at the time, and then he goes out and wins Rookie of the Year. He has a great kind of all-around rookie season, passing, defending, rebounding, run in transition, just overall scoring. It was a very good year 1 for Scotty Barnes. Last year, though, took a step back. The efficiency dropped. Maybe the defense wasn't where it was in year 1, but this year Scotty Barnes has looked fantastic, and I think the Toronto Raptors need to just fully go with building around Scotty Barnes as their main kind of point forward and move on probably for Pascal Siakam. I don't know if him and Siakam would be a great fit long-term to each other. We've seen a decent amount of it. The Raptors really haven't amounted to much with Scotty Barnes in the league so far, so I think it'd be time to just move on from Siakam, get maybe more shooters, maybe even a better rim protector next to Scotty Barnes, if you can find an upgrade over Jakob Poeltl eventually. But Scotty Barnes has really progressed as a scorer this year, as a shooter, as an overall playmaker. I think like point guard Barnes is really fun to watch when he's just running that offense and being that floor general, and even playing off some combo guards next to like OG Anunoby and Gary Trent at times, and Dennis Schroeder especially this year, who's been a nice surprise for Toronto. So I love what Scotty Barnes is doing. He's definitely seen his stock increase mightily this year, and he's going in the right direction. I can't lie, Jaylen Suggs was very disappointing in his first 2 seasons. He honestly got off to a very disappointing start offensively this year, but his defense has progressed so much, and over his last 6 games, he's improved so much as an overall shooter, floor spacer. He finds his open shots, and he's really progressed his three-point jumper. His free throw percentage is good. His overall at the rim field goal percentage is good, and Jaylen Suggs has improved so much on both sides of the ball this season, and he's been one of the main catalysts to this Orlando Magic having a top 10 defense in the NBA. He's been a huge part of that, both on the perimeter, inside, in transition. He's great on the defensive side of the floor. He hustles, he flies around out there, and he's somebody you want there in your backcourt to complement maybe not as good defensive lead guard, because Suggs, while he can still facilitate, is more of a 2, and if he's going to get a consistent three-point jumper where he's shooting 35% from 3 this season, and he's going to play this elite guard defense, he could really make his money as an elite 3-and-D guy in this NBA for a long, long time. I saw a tweet that called Josh Giddy the first special teams player in the NBA because he's not like elite or really good on the offensive side or the defensive side. I don't know. Josh Giddy has been a little bit disappointing in year 3 because I think at the end of last year, what we saw from him in the play-in tournament, we're like, okay, this is a guy that's going to be in your top 15s of your top 25 under 25s. You would really only trade him if you're getting like a superstar in return, and he's headlining that package. And he's definitely taken a step back this season. His points have dropped. His efficiency has dropped. His playmaking has even dropped a little bit. Obviously, we've seen guys like Shea ball out this year at times, and even Jalen Williams, who came off a very good rookie year last year, and Chad Holmgren, who's in his rookie season this year and playing very well. We've seen Josh Giddy kind of take a step back. He's not great defensively. His main thing was his playmaking ability. We've even seen that drop a little bit. Obviously, less opportunities at times, and with his field goal percentage, 44%, I mean, not perfect. 30% from three, not great. His free throw percentage has actually gone up a little bit this season, which is nice. And he can impact the floor in so many different ways when he's on. But I think just the consistency out of Josh Giddy this year has been a little bit disappointing in year 3. And I think that's been a trend for some of these guys like Cade, like Green, and now like Giddy in year 3 that we hope to see like steps on the offensive side of the ball. And I think Giddy's out of the 3 can translate the most into winning because he's not really asked to be the number 1 guy. We've seen Cade, like he's been the number 1 guy. He's the number 1 guy. He should be the number 1 guy. Jaylen Green, maybe number 1, number 2, and Giddy doesn't have to be a number 1 or number 2 because he can impact the game in so many different ways. But I just think Giddy, as a complimentary piece to maybe Shea this year, has definitely been a little bit of a letdown. And I think I've seen his name thrown around a lot into trades. If it's like a headliner for like a Lowry marketing package, I think we should not overreact to his 14-game start this season. But I think it's something to keep an eye on. Jonathan Kuminga. We keep waiting for him to break out, and it's just not happened yet. I mean, 43% from the field, 18% from 3. We've seen Draymond get suspended. Obviously, Draymond is getting older, fresh off that new contract, and we maybe think Kuminga could take that next step with this increase in playing time, and that has not happened. The Warriors as a whole, I could make a whole video on of how disappointing they have been. I think Kuminga still has really good defensive potential, and maybe he's not going to be much of a floor spacer in this league, and he could really play small ball 5 at times for some second units if you're not going up against like a Nikola Jokic or an Anthony Davis. I just think Kuminga has been like a little bit of like, all right, maybe we got to pause the hype on him until we can at least see it, because I'm just losing money on my stock from him. Okay, Franz Wagner off to a weird start. Man, he had so much hype for Team Germany in the FIBA World Cup last summer. He had a great sophomore season last year, and people could have said in the beginning of this season, before the season started, he was the best player from this draft class. He's been a little bit of a letdown this season. He's been inefficient from the field, inefficient from 3, not really looking as the number 1 kind of shot creator, scoring option for Orlando that we thought he could be this year, and Paolo is really going to be that guy long term, which we all thought of, but I thought really like right now, Franz was their best player, and he is not playing like that this year. Magic fans in the comments, so let me know what you think of Franz, because I think you could be different on him at times. And like Giddy, I don't want to put too much stock into this start because I think he'll figure it out, and we've seen some other guys that played in the FIBA World Cup be a little bit rusty, but then again, we've seen guys like Tyrese Halliburton and Dylan Brooks have incredible seasons, and they were in the FIBA World Cup as well. Okay, a whole lot of to wrap up the lottery, like Davion Mitchell, Zaire Williams, James Bouknight, Joshua Primo, Chris Duarte. A lot of these guys have been either inefficient, liabilities on the defensive side of the floor, and have not lived up to their lottery potential. You can even throw Moses Moody in here, but he has shown some flashes that he could be a solid scorer off the bench. But I do think the 9 to 14 range of this lottery has been pretty disappointing so far. Maybe not even just in year 3, just basically in their whole career so far. But there was a lot of good players that came after the lottery. First one was Corey Kispert at pick number 15. This man is a very good floor spacer, very good guy at knowing his role and being a specialist 3-point shooter. He could be a perfect role player and complementary piece to Washington in the long term. They drafted well here. Had to talk about Alperen Şengün, who's probably skyrocketed into the top 3 conversation of this draft class, where he is broken out fully in year 3. He's going to be in the most improved conversation. 21 points, 8.5 rebounds, 6 assists a night from the center, shooting 35 from 3 and 59% from the field. He can really control this offense, and who would have thought after draft night that in year 3, Şengün was going to be the best Rocket from this draft class and not Jaylen Green. Trey Murphy at 17 to the Pelicans has also been a very good pick. He is hurt currently, but he is one of the better shooters in this class. Got to give some love to Jalen Johnson this season, who's having a career year in year 3 as well, shooting up to 15 points per game, 8 rebounds. He could score inside. He's crazy athletic, has a solid jumper as well, shooting 41% from 3. Like, where did that come from? Jalen Johnson is also in the most improved conversation this year. He's been fantastic for Atlanta. And just want to give some love to Cam Thomas on the offensive side of the ball and Herb Jones on the defensive side of the ball. Cam Thomas went 27th in this draft, and Herb Jones went 35th. Both have been phenomenal picks in this class. And obviously, there's a bunch of other players that you could talk about as well, like Quentin Grimes, Bones Highland, and Santi Aldama, who's come on as of late for the Memphis Grizzlies. So let me know what you guys think of the 2021 draft class in the comments below. I think it's definitely been polarizing so far. far. I love reading the discourse about it, and I feel like there's so much competition at the top, and nobody has really run away with the crown from this draft class. I feel like the most consistent player so far has been Mble, but you can say Scotty Barnes, what he's doing this year, and he won Rookie of the Year. He's up there. What Shane Goon is doing this year, he's up there. But you can't count Cade, Giddy, Jaylen Green, and Franz Vagner out yet. So let me know what you guys think of the draft class in the comments below. Like I said, drop a like if you guys did enjoy, and if you enjoy these style of videos, I'd really appreciate it. Just let me know in the comments. And if there's anything else you guys want to see me talk about, let me know. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.